Peter, we just had that discussion on the value of audit. What for your mind, is the kind of current state of the profession, and what needs to change?
Well, I think we have come a long way from the situation where there was just a debate about auditor liability, and the auditors were quite reluctant to do anything which might involve incurring liability, and the shareholders and the rest of the community didn't want to cap the liability of audit. That meant there was never a real discussion about some of the judgments that underlie the accounts, and that those discussions about judgments couldn't be brought out, which was a great pity, because a lot of accounting is about judgments, and we need to know more about them. Now, the way things are going with the changes introduced by the Financial Reporting Council and others, there is an expectation that the Audit Committee report is more discursive, and that the auditor's report itself is not necessarily as binary as it used to be. I think this is all rather good, and we need to build on that to generate trust between the corporate world, the auditors and the shareholders, and then gradually it may be possible to revisit the question of liability, which will further increase the scope of the discussion, and it will altogether become more open. At that point, I think it's much easier for the shareholders to distinguish between auditors, and because they will know more about how the auditors have dealt with controversial issues in the companies they've audited, and how these issues have been exposed and so on. Then it will be a more meaningful choice when we come to rotation. I also think that if we were able to deal with a liability, it should pave the way towards a greater participation in the audit market by newcomers, and that would increase choice, which again would be a very good thing. So we've got quite a long way to go, but I think we're actually now at a rather promising stage.
So they're putting in place some building blocks now that will lead to developments.
Yes, and what is happening now, greater understanding about the sort of decisions that have been made by those that are preparing the company accounts, and about the reasons for those decisions. Those are starting to come out. It gives people more to discuss, and all of these things are likely to be much more fundamental to the health of the company and the ability of shareholders and others to understand it than the remuneration report, which in my view does attract still far too much attention compared with the other parts of the accounts.